Is Monday giving you the blues? Let's turn that frown upside down. It's Modern Comic Mondays. I'm Comic Man Andy, and you're in the Comic Man Andy Comic Cave and Comic Dojo. Let's go. We've got a CGC submission back. And lickety split as we pull this up and talk about it as people filter in here. Can we talk about how quick some of these submissions are coming back? Is it for the better? Or is it for the worse? I'm very curious. You guys watching this live tonight, you guys watching on the replay, comment in the live feed, comment down below on the replay. Tell me what you guys think about the CGC turn times right now. And is it good? What are you guys seeing coming back? I'm very curious. Last couple of CGC submissions that we've sent in have been lickety split, like almost record, like neck breakingly quick on the return. And I'm kind of wondering about some of the grades that I've gotten back. Yes, received 10/31, shipped 11/8. That's pretty quick. October 31st to November 8th. That's pretty quick. These were not fast tracked. This was a standard CGC submission. We stopped fast tracking book. We stopped fast tracking books after, well, even before CGC even announced that they were going to increase or speed up turn times. And some of us were kind of like, I wonder, because everybody's got to start somewhere, right? Everybody's got to learn. The grading's kind of one of those things where it's not like you can just pick up 20 new graders off the street and they're all going to be 20-year professionals. But even the submission before that, in this submission, there was 2 other submissions that we received and never even opened on YouTube, just because of the fact that it's kind of like, I think I want to send some of this back. We did a whole Punisher CGC submission. We've got that back, and boy, did I get the living daylights clobbered out of me on some of these Punisher books out of the 80s and 90s. In fact, we're probably going to do a recap show on that because we discovered our first ever restored comic book. Stay tuned for that. We'll do that on another show, but that was received 10/6, shipped 10/17. Standard grading, not fast tracking. Wow, super quick. And then the one before that, so there's 8/30, received 8/30. There's a little bit of a break in there. 8/30, shipped 9/12. A bunch of Mandalorian stuff. I could probably recap that one, but that's pretty darn quick too, as we talk about CGC turn times here, as everybody's filtering in. Thank you, everybody, for being here. JP's Budget Collecting, what is up, brother? Good to see you. Planet Arizona Comics, what is up, man? Why was Darth Vader bad at sports? He always choked. Oh, no. Happy Monday. I want to grade all on Mandalorian comics. Yes, we did. We sent out all of the ratio variants and the cover price variants and a bunch of cover aids for Mandalorian 1, all brand new books. Because I felt like Mandalorian 1 with all white cover. You guys know kind of where we're at with Marvel paper quality and some of the printing issues, and those white covers get dirty quick. But we got beat. We got beat a lot harder than we thought we would. Yes, Mysterian, good to see you as well. Hey, Mom, thanks for being here. Good to see you. And we had Come On Mama saying hi to Daymers. We had like 3 people tailgating today already. Come On Mama, Daymers, and there was another one. I hate how YouTube kind of drops off some of those comments. We will get into this in just a little bit. I think a whole bunch of people have stopped sending books. That's a possibility. I've got 2 or 3 short boxes of books over here that I want to send to CGC that we've been just kind of trying to chunk through, and we're kind of chipping away at it. About 10 bucks a month is kind of what I can afford. Anything more than that, it's like, I got to send out a pre-screen and do 25 books. Well, you guys, that costs a lot of money. You're looking at $500-ish to pre-screen 25 books if they all get graded. Daymers, what is up, man? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. We haven't quite gotten to this box as people start to filter in. I'm grading the egg cover and One Piece Momoko. There you go. Yeah, we'll recap the other ones. It's just one of those things where it's like they came back so fast. We should have done a live unboxing. This one I'm really excited about because these were personal PC books. PC Star Wars books. The other Mandalorian stuff, I was really curious to see how that was going to grade. And then the Punisher PC stuff. I've got to recap that one at least. What is R2-D2 short for? Oh, God bless America. It's bad. Acetate covers? No. There will be content on that. CGC finally did ship those back. We selected option 3, no grading. There will be some content on that. I've got some ideas. But once again, yes, this submission specifically was sent out, received 10/31, shipped 11/8. Now, obviously, every batch of books that we sent out goes to who we're partnered with, Gary at Impressive Comic Book Services. Check out his information down below. Gary is a wizard, does amazing work. But sometimes the old Comic Man Andy doesn't quite send them the best quality books as possible. Sometimes the books are just harder to find, or you're trying to get into that price range without overspending or overpaying. And that's kind of how you play that game, right? You don't want to necessarily overpay, but in the same fashion, if you don't and you don't get a 9.8, it's kind of one of those things. Grading modern Star Wars stuff, which is going to lead us into that question tonight, is what Star Wars books should we be grading, or should you be grading? That's kind of an interesting thought process, kind of a self-reflection. And I'm curious what all of you guys in the chat and watching on the replay tonight have to say about what Star Wars books would you guys be grading, what should you be grading? Because it's a funny thing, the past year or so, there's certain books that you'd think that it would take off that haven't, that are cheaper to buy already graded. And then there are some that it's just way cheaper to buy them brand new, raw, off the shelf, and then get them graded. You met a microbiologist today. He was much bigger than I have not been reading Spider-Punk. I should be. I've heard from a lot of people. There's a lot of stuff that I should be reading, but I haven't been reading. We'll get into this submission without further ado. Like we said, we're doing 10 items a month. We're already 3 months in. This is month number 3 at the tail end of the year here, and we're going to be doing the same thing rolling into 2023. What did we send in here? Like we said, Afra books. There's some other stuff that's all Star Wars. And we shall touch base on a couple other things. But how bad did we get beat up on the grades? Did we get beat up? Did we do well? I don't think we did too bad. Gary had a couple of comments be like, hey, this one's probably not going to be where you think it's going to be. Either way, I don't even know if we're starting from the front or the back. Let's start up here and go right from here. I've noticed they're sending much thicker bags with the slabs now. And of course, I still have a couple of these laying around. But look at this. If you guys are getting submissions back, these are like double and tripled up in thickness there. We're still getting a couple of these. I keep finding a couple of these laying around the house. These are still that first standard comic book cover appearance of Mandalorian, Din Djarin, and Grogu. It's one of those things where, wow, did these things tank in a good way. These are really affordable right now. I love this cover in the personal collection. I love holding on to a couple of these. I was glad to see this one make 9.8. Really happy to see that make 9.8. Because that Marvel paper quality, say that 3 times fast, hasn't been great. And I'm seeing a lot of these newer Star Wars books are, man, they look good. And then you send them out and you're like, uh-oh, wait a second. Well, if it isn't Mr. Slabaganza giveaway, due to rain, I think if a ball game is called, if everyone should get a perspiration. Oh, man. Double O, what is up, brother? Thanks for being here. Yes, Slabaganza, absolutely. As we get more into these, the first book, and wouldn't you know it? Book number 2, another first print, and another 9.8. So happy. Gary does a fantastic job working on a lot of these modern books that have really the paper stock just isn't quite there, but Gary's able to do amazing things with a lot of those brand new books. And it happens. This one I'm going to take a really close look at, because we talk about how quick these books are getting graded and how fast they're coming back. I feel like I've gotten pretty good at seeing 9.8 candidates. And when I'm like, this is definitely a 9.8 candidate, and it comes back in 9.6, I'm going to give this a really good look over after the show. I still love this cover. First standard comic book cover appearance of Moff Gideon. I feel like that, the first print of Din Djarin and Grogu, first cover, and then this, I feel like these are really underrated. Wait for Mandalorian season 3 to come back and see what these books do going on in the future. Right now, like we said, in the market, things have gotten a little interesting with pricing. And there's a correct, like a lot of people talked about there being a correction. I don't necessarily want to call it a crash, because a lot of books we're seeing prices returning to what a lot of us would consider normal. And I don't see anything on this. I don't see anything on this. We're going to give this a really good look later on after the show. 7 books to go as we start throwing plastic everywhere. Ooh, okay. So many of you guys may have remembered some of the store variants getting out for High Republic. And right there, Wonder World Comics did a High Republic variant. For one, Marvel let them go all the way back to issue 1 to do a store variant of this. Now, this is one of the last actually store variants that I bought into. And it's because they let him do a Virgin variant. They let him do a Virgin variant, and it turned out phenomenal. Remember the name correctly. Paulo Vanilla cover. I cannot pronounce names ever, hardly at all. That Paulo cover turned out fantastic. And I sent the 2 best copies that we received. And it was really cool because I was able to pick them up personally from Dennis. Got to view his store, got to check that out. And we got a 9.8 on that. It's fantastic. The Virgin variant is gorgeous. I believe there's a trade dress in there so we could try to complete a set. Really excited that those did as well as they did. Yeah, I peeked at the grid. This isn't a completely blind unboxing. I did peek beforehand because I got the last couple of ones that had gone out. I just didn't send out the best books to Gary, and Gary's like, hey, don't, if you're expecting 9.8s, please don't, because we're doing the best we can. It's like, I get it. Some books are just getting harder to get. And what do we got? There's another Virgin variant here for that, and that one made 9.8 as well. So 2 for 2 on the Virgin variants for High Republic number 1. This is a book that I'm going to keep a close eye. Not just this one, but I mean the High Republic 1 overall, that High Republic series overall. Going to keep a close eye on that over the next 5 years. See what's going to happen. See what they're going to do. Got to run. Daymare, it's good to see you. Thanks for being here. Catching on the rewind. Have I seen Black Panther? I have not seen Black Panther yet. I'm looking forward to hopefully going this weekend or the weekend after. Why did Star Wars movies 4, 5, and 6 come out? Because in charge of scheduling Yoda was. Of course it would be all his fault. Next up is the trade. Yep, and that trade made 9.8. So there we go. We got a Virgin and we got a trade, and then we got an additional Virgin and Virgin variant and 9.8. That being said, so we're halfway there. 196. No, we're a little more than halfway there. 196, and the rest 9.8s. Where do we go from there? This one I was a little surprised at. This one, the old Uncle Skeffaroo picked this up for me because he was working out a bundle-roo deal at a local con in northern Indiana, I think we met up at. And he was able to add this to a bundle, and I did not have a copy of this Darth Vader 25. Am I remembering that correctly? Yes, Darth Vader 25, the action figure variant cover. And this one looked really, really good, but somehow only came back a 9.6. And now this is kind of where I'm wondering. This thing has sharp corners. But those action figure variants kind of have like the card backing for the action figure variant. They kind of make it look a little worn. So we're going to give this a really good look because I was feeling really good about that. I'll get with Gary, see what Gary had to say, what his notes were when he pressed them, and maybe he's going to tell me that, nope, this wasn't going to make it because of this. Sometimes I don't scan them as well as I would like to, but I'm really happy to add this to the Afro collection because eventually here, we're going to be digging out all the Afro books, and we're going to be starting up a CGC registry set for all the Afro stuff through Darth Vader, through the Afro run. Several that weren't candidates. The High Republics did do really well. Thank you, Double O. I've got a couple more that I'd like to send eventually. Josh Oliver, what is up? Thanks for being here. We're almost through the books. And then I'd like to talk to you guys. What are other people sending out for Star Wars books? Star Wars kind of seems to be one of those things that I just can't get enough of. And this is why you're going to see even more Star Wars books. And speaking of more Star Wars books, what do we have? Clone Wars number 2. I was really excited for this one because the CEO of the Comic Dojo and I found this at Motor City Comic Con, and this thing was crispy clean. Really clean book. Come on, Mama. Thanks for being here. Double O. I think I don't remember if I showed this book to you after we grabbed it. But this is one of those books where we saw it, we saw the price. I think we wiggled it down a little bit, and I think we got it for $100. Now, granted, this was Motor City near the beginning of the year. Prices are different, but I feel like Ahsoka books kind of are bucking the trend. Clone Wars 1 has come down a bit, but 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 that were more affordable than 1, people have been kind of going after it, and especially at the tail end of the year, for some reason, we're eyeing some books, and they're just kind of going for a lot more than we'd expect. This one did not make a 9.8. This one made a 9.4. All right, we're going to dig into this one because this thing looks really, really, really good. In fact, depending on how 2023 starts out for us, this might be one we crack out for an Ashley Eckstein signing and have it pressed clean or whatever. Maybe CCS, maybe take that roll of the dice, maybe gamble a little bit there. We really would like to have a book signed like this upcoming December. Ashley and Matt were both going to be at GalaxyCon in Columbus. Unfortunately, with the way the con season has been going, with the way we were at with funding, we're not going to be able to make that one. We're going to have to cancel that going to that convention, and it's because we just weren't quite finding what we want to do to get signed at the pricing. Prices are still really high. We feel like it might be a better avenue to pick up a book in 2023 and look to get it signed. But this might be a book to get cracked and signed and then resubmitted because I don't know. I kind of wonder. There's none of the books that came back in the submission, none of them got graders notes. Absolutely zip zero zilch. Which I get. I mean, I've had a lot of submissions come back with was it 9.0 or anything 9.0 or 9.2 or above, they don't usually offer graders notes for. But I've had graders notes on 9.8s. I've had graders notes on 9.4s, but then this one just didn't come back with anything. So this is why we're talking about this, and I'm going to recap the last 2 submissions that I didn't do a live unboxing of because not tonight. We'll do another episode. But I mean, we're seeing books like I'm not a dummy. I've been submitting books for quite a long while now to CGC, almost as long as I've been on YouTube. Buying them online beforehand, sending them off with other companies and other people and getting them graded. But me personally picking out books and sending them to CGC, it's been about 3 years. So if I see a book that I think is a 9.8 candidate, I'm kind of surprised if it comes back a 9.4. And this thing still looks really good. So we're going to take a really, really close look at these books after the show underneath some really good light. See if there's something I missed. Ricky Markstad, what is up? Thanks for being here. Warlord, good to see you as well. Absolutely. More people coming in. Funk Comics, good to see you as well. Hoarder's Hide, what is up, Scott, buddy? Good to see you. Never intentionally bought a Star Wars book in my life. You'll have that. Star Wars Clone Wars issue 2. Yeah, we actually have. I can't remember where we got it. We have a 9.8 already. So we've got the first 2 of that series. And that's why we were kind of looking for 3, 4, 5, and 6 and going on at some of the conventions. And the prices were still up. So that's why we decided not to purchase right now at this time. Maybe look at 2023. Diecast, what is up? The Bearded Tag Team Partner Scuff. The tag team could be named the Bearded Legends. Absolutely. So you guys know when talking about Star Wars books that I love picking up Afro books. Now, talking about Motor City Comic Con, that was probably one of the last big batches of books that we did a massive bundle of books, like Star Wars books, from one vendor. Tales from the Flip Side podcast, Tales from the Dark Side podcast, Marco and Peter and those guys know that vendor really well. I'm getting to know that vendor really well. I made a really big bundle and bought, I think, 10 copies of Darth Vader 3 earlier this year. I bundled them all together to kind of get them to an affordable price. And these are the last couple of copies that we sent out because they're not quite 9.8s. This one I was surprised to see as a 9.2. I thought this one was going to be a 9.4. But it does have some color rub on the back. I knew when it comes to AFRA, I mean, long-term hold 9.2s, 9.4s, 9.6s. Granted, I probably lost a little bit of money on this because at 10 copies, I think we paid $100 a copy back then, which was a little bit more of a bundle deal. So $1,000 for 10 copies at $100 a copy raw. Granted, the book is softened up a little bit, but you got to think, I'm thinking long-term, 5, 10 years longer. All of these books that are going up on eBay that are going for really, really, really cheap, 9.4s, 9.6s. I mean, 9.8s are sub 300 on the regular. I think Elite Comics had one for $275 the other day, and it sold for that, and it sold like within an hour, less than an hour, like really quick. Whereas a lot of stuff that's just kind of sitting, get decent prices on stuff, and not find good deals, stuff will sell. So I'm kind of surprised to see this one hit a 9.2. We'll take a really close look at it, but it's like, granted, we talk about they put a lot of new graders out there, and they all have to start somewhere. They all have to learn. Wow. Yeah, this is I'm probably gonna go ahead and disagree with this 9.2. Like, it's grading subjective. Whatever. I mean, there's not a spine tick on the book at all anywhere. The corners are sharp. And this is a good looking book. I see something, but either way, it should have been 9.4 to 9.6. 9.2 I disagree with. So this is more than likely going to get cracked and resubmitted. More than likely getting cracked and resubmitted. And then that puts us down to the last book. We'll recap the books again as more people filter in and we talk about it, which means we are at the last copy of Darth Vader 3 that we got in that bundle. So if you guys go back and look at some of the other CGC unboxings, we unboxed a bunch of Darth Vader 3s over the last like 12 to 14 months. And the last one at least made the 9.6. Like we said, this is the last two copies that they weren't like guaranteed 9.8. They're still super sharp, still super sharp, still decent looking, but not quite the 9.8. And I think that's because both of them have the tiniest little smudge down by Luke's boot that's prevalent on a lot of the Darth Vader 3 copies and a lot of other Star Wars books. So solid I was really happy to see that hit 9.6 because that's kind of where I figured that at least one or both. I was thinking 9.6 and 9.4, and at least one of them made 9.6. No, we went right on the money at 8:30. We've been going for 22, 23 minutes. We'll recap the books. This is the last one. But everybody in the chat, I want to know, if you guys are Star Wars collectors, what are you guys getting graded? Ricky, I know you have that Clone Wars 1. It has 5 signatures. You've inspired us, and many other people have inspired us to get a signed copy of Clone Wars 1 one of these days. And we're really excited to do that. We think that instead of trying to press the issue and try to race to get it done at the tail end of the year, I'm sure Ashley and Matt are going to be at another signing event coming up in 2023. So we are going to focus on letting some of the market correction continue to happen and potentially getting another Clone Wars 1. It'd be really cool to add a newsstand version of Clone Wars 1 to the collection if they come down in price. That one, Clone Wars, newsstand Clone Wars 1, I feel like is a book to buck the trend, because I was watching one the other day. It looked like a solid 8.5 to a 9.0. Not terrible, not great. And I'm like, okay. And I look at the GPA analysis, and I'm like, the last one sold a couple weeks ago for like $700. I'm like, okay, this book is sitting there at like $300. I'm like, okay, we'll see kind of what happens. Maybe make a couple of bids on it. That book raw went for over $900. Either people are a little bit trigger happy, or the newsstand books don't. I mean, I haven't been paying close attention to the newsstand books, Clone Wars 1, but that one just took off. There must have been 3 or 4 really hungry collectors looking for a newsstand book, and this was just last week or the week before. Solid 8.5 to 9.0 copy, even after a press and clean, and that book went for more than what the last 8.5 or last 9.0 sold for, if I remember correctly. I got to double check that, but I'm pretty sure it went for more. It went for more. Either way, speaking of the years 2023 and 2022, the mission for the year 2022 is still Mission 22. And thank you, Zuni, for the $5 super chat. Any super chat, super stickers, ad revenue that goes on in this channel for all of this year gets donated to Mission 22. And mind you, don't forget to check out the Bronze Age Nerd, who's doing another Mission 22 charity auction over on Whatnot coming up for Thanksgiving. That's next week. So check out Bronze Age Nerd. You guys know his channel on YouTube. Make sure you guys follow him. That charity auction, they did an awesome amount of money for Mission 22. That was really cool to see. Really, really happy seeing people come together and support Mission 22 and other charities. That's so awesome. Scuff's Comic Knowledge in the house. What is up, brother? Good to see you. 9.8 Dark Horse Clone Wars 1 is around. The last sold 9.8 of Clone Wars 1 was like 16 or 1700. It's dropped substantially. Asking prices are still high. Like, asking prices are still high. In fact, let's do this quick screen share and talk about this, is because we're going to talk a little bit more about some books. I do want to mention, everybody, don't forget, Pressable Defects starts here in a little bit. They've got a great show looking at the market on Instagram coming up here tonight at 9 p.m. in just a little bit. We're going to hop over there after this, but we are going to get into... So we got GPA, and I could be remembering incorrectly, but I'm fairly certain that the last one went for way less than Star Wars Clone Wars 2008 issue 1. Last 9.8 sold for 2,000, so I was off. 2,000. It saw a height of 31.88 this year. Yeah, there was several $1,600 sales for 9.8 recently in October, tail end of October. So that's books a little more normalizing now after everything that's been going on. A little bit more of a correction. One popping up to $2,000 in November. I did not take a look at that yet, but why don't we try? See if the link will work. Nope, that's the GPA link. Either way. So there were a couple of $1,600 sales. The book did pop back up to 2,000. It's just one sale. We'll see where that book trends. We got to look at the long term of it over time. And with a lot like everything else, there's just some downward trends. That book saw almost 3,200 as a high beginning of this year, near the beginning of this year in springtime, and correcting back down. But if you look at Clone Wars 2, Clone Wars 2 is down a little bit as well, actually. Either way, we'll talk about that more in a little bit. Let's recap the books really quick. More people have been showing up. Skeff is here. It is Skeffy McSkeffface. Yes. Mojo Quid, what is up? Good to see you. We'll go over these books here in just a second. We did the first unboxing and went through. It's just 10 copies. But one of the things that we're curious about as kind of a group and as a community is how quickly they're spitting out the books. This submission was received October 31st and shipped November 8th. That's really, really quick. Not even fast track. That's not even a fast track submission. Sleeveless Skeff. Yes, absolutely. Why couldn't Luke find love? He was looking in all the wrong places. Oh, boy. Fantastic Four. Do you find this Fantastic Four number 4? I don't know. It depends. I guess it depends on what volume or what run. I mean, there's a lot of... If you're talking volume 1, number 4 for 0.5, 120, I don't know. I'd look up probably eBay past sales, search that and look for past sales, look for current pricing, what people are asking for, kind of surmise that way, and check out Shortbox, check out eBay, check out anywhere else that's selling comic books that kind of has posted prices and kind of list some of the past sales and kind of get an idea from there. Tony Fix, what is up, brother? Good to see you, man. Thanks for being here. All the new graders they hired have nothing to do, he said. Did they slow down that much? They really slow down that much? We'll go backwards for everybody just here as we got Darth Vader 3 coming back in a 9.6. Everybody that grades modern books says 9.8 or nothing, or 9.8 or bust. Darth Vader 3 is one that I think will buck the trend over time. 5-10 years or longer. This is a character and 2 droids that must hit the screen. It's a fantastic story. The Darth Vader run here from Gillen is absolutely amazing, and first appearance of Dr. Aphra is not a modern key to slouch at. We'll see what happens over time. Happy to have a 9.6 because, like I said, I thought both of these books were, that 9.4, 9.6-ish range, and one to hit 9.6 is good. Happy there. But the second one only making 9.2 was kind of surprising. I'm going to look over this, going to look really hard and see what I can find about it, because they do kind of hit you a bit hard for color rub on the back. But I don't recall in this lighting how much color rub was actually there. Either way, 9.2, thinking this will be a little bit better. What we have into the book, like we said, we bought 10 copies at $100 a copy earlier this year. So we bought a big bunch of them, and these were the last 2 that I had that weren't graded. I don't think I have any more. So this one, is it worth at $126 plus $12 to press and clean at $130-ish? Is it worth cracking this 9.2 to get it to come back in 9.6? Maybe. At that point you're kind of underwater. 9.6s are floating around under 200. But either way, long-term hold. 2 more for the Dr. Aphra collection. In fact, it's modern. It's a multiple comic Monday. We should probably get out the Aphra collection, post something on Instagram. And then I was still kind of surprised this came back in 9.4, but this was that copy we found at Motor City Comic Con from another vendor that was $100. And I feel like Clone Wars 2, a lot of people have caught on to the second appearance of Ahsoka, and the book went from being a $20 to $40 book to a $80 to $100 book, and now like $150 at conventions. I think the last one I saw was $175 at Baltimore Comic Con. The last one I was looking at was $175, and it had a color scratch, like a color rub scratch on the front. So it wasn't even a near mint plus candidate or a near mint plus plus. So at $175 for something that was probably going to be a 9.2 to a 9.4, the book continues to trend upwards when you're looking for raw copies, in my opinion. Now, granted, convention pricing is always going to be higher. This is another book I'm going to be really keep a really close eye on as modern comic prices continue to correct a bit. You got a couple of those, Daywalker says. That's funny because Daywalker tells me he wants to sell them, and I'm telling Daywalker I want to buy them. In fact, I love the fact that Daywalker and I have been talking about trading some books too, because he's got a massive amount of Punisher stuff that we need for the PC that I want to get graded. So you guys will see a big Punisher unboxing here soon, hopefully, because I've got a couple of books that Daywalker is looking for. And it's always that thing. You have them, you set them out because you want to take a look at them, or maybe you send them off to grading, and now they're off on a shelf here somewhere that I can't find. Well, I'll get those out. And then thank you again, Uncle Skeff, for working this into a bundle deal that you picked up and then letting me buy it off of you. This is the first copy we have of the Darth Vader 25, the action figure for Dr. Aphra. I mean, can you imagine what this could potentially do? Once or if Aphra hits the screen, we saw what the Black Chrysanthemum did. That action figure variant cover just kind of took off. In fact, that's another book we should take a look into, see how that one's doing. And then next up, we did get that trade and a 9.8 for High Republic. I don't know what's going to happen long-term with High Republic as they move into Volume 2. I think Issue 2, Volume 2 is out. I'm kind of curious because if you think about what they're doing with the Star Wars runs now, it seems like they're building and gearing things specifically for fodder for screen, right? It feels like they're doing a lot of this stuff to give fodder to future stuff for Star Wars on the big screen. Not just movies, but I mean Disney Plus or anything else. So, man, JD, Nemesis Prime, Justin, a lot of those other guys talk about High Republic, and I just need to listen to them a little bit more. The Virgin variant is absolutely fantastic. Thank you again, Dennis. That 9.8 came out looking great. And another 9.8 of that Virgin variant. Like I said, Gary does amazing work on a lot of the brand new, well, on any comic book. Gary at Impressive Comic Books does amazing work because when you pull stuff brand new off of the shelf and send it his way, that thin Marvel paper quality, he's a master at that stuff. But sometimes you get some of those books, like we talked about, that are just hitting some of the grades that you're just not expecting. And I'm not sure why. Like we said, we're going to give this a really close look. Maybe there's something that I may have missed on the inside. I don't know. Do they ink smudges on the inside of pages? Is that something that can knock down a grade? Probably. That might be something I missed because I know I don't inspect every single page super immaculately well on a brand new off-the-shelf book. Either way, the first standard comic book cover appearance of Moff Gideon, super cool. I've been adding those to the collection. And like we said, as we get into the last two books, we found two more of these in the box in the Star Wars collection. Decided to send those out. That gold border is that first print, the first standard comic book cover appearance of Din Djarin and Grogu. It's interesting. I mean, look at the prices on eBay now. So when we talk about the specific question, what Star Wars books should you grade? You guys do what you feel is best for you. Buy what you love, and you'll love what you would buy. But I'm sitting here telling you right now, if you want to copy this, go to eBay and look at it. They're almost just above cost. Some sellers are asking $80, $90, $100. That's cool, but I've seen some books for like $50 or $60. If you're looking for one for the collection, I would seriously consider doing it now before, was it February? Mandalorian Season 3 hits in February, and a lot of those cheap copies are probably going to dry up. So now is the time to pay attention and look for this book. If you want this for your collection, if you are a Mandalorian fan, if you are a Star Wars fan, I think it's easier. The paper quality is where the paper quality is. I think it's easier to just go and find an affordable copy on eBay now. Let's take the 30 seconds right now. Take the 30 seconds right now, Andy, and go to eBay and just, I want to show you guys. This is probably one of the quickest books to pick up. Darth Vader 20 Sprouse variant CGC 9.8. And there's some active ones being bid on right now. This is, oops, nope, wrong button. Here we go. In all seriousness, if this is a book that you guys, if anybody watching this on the replay is looking for a copy, just go to eBay. $17.50, that one's being bid on. $79, $99, $75, $220 seems ambitious. $85. Don't tell me the cheaper copies dried up already. Keep an eye on some of these ones that are being bid on with 7 days left. Did I miss something in the news? Maybe I am wrong because these prices are a lot higher than I remember last week. Well, that was a fun little journey down. There's an $80 one. There's a 21 being bid on. I feel like these were way cheaper a week ago. I must have missed something. Maybe it was because they set a date for Mandalorian, but seriously, look up GP analysis really quick. I feel like there were a number of sales that were really low. The paper quality is tough. Like, in all seriousness, the paper quality is not great. This was 2022. It's issue 20. What was it? About a year ago, that paper quality started getting worse. Correct me if I'm wrong. There it is. 25 issues right now. Issue 20. And that's not right. I'm not looking up the right one. So maybe I can do that at a different time because Darth Vader 2016, 2015, 2017, 20. There we go. I was just looking at the wrong one. Issue 20. There are currently 28 issues. C. Woodard, what is up, brother? We will talk about the books here in another minute, but there it is. Variant edition. Yeah, $43. Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. Keep your eyes peeled because those copies on eBay, here we go. Variant edition, last sale of $43. At $43, I mean, 53, 65, 52, 80, 57. You're basically $35 to $45 is almost your cost to purchase the book, have it pressed and clean, ship it to your presser and cleaner, and then you pay them to ship it to CGC. By the time you pay CGC to grade the book and get it back with $26, what are we at for grading? 20 some odd dollars for grading. I think I averaged it out like $25, $26. I can't remember. It's like $35, $45. It's like, just buy it off of online if you find it for that cheap. Save yourself the heartache and the headache of buying a copy and getting a 9.6 back or a 9.4 back because it just didn't hit that mark. Because that's the question. What Star Wars books should you grade? This is one of those ones where if you've got raw copies, I would kind of sit on them and wait and try to shop around for that $40 copy on eBay. Shop around for them. I was really confident that these were going to do well, especially in the hands of Gary at Impressive Comic Book Services. This one I'm a little surprised at. We're going to take a really close look. Not sure that this would be worth CPRing. Might add this to a giveaway. Might add, who knows? Might post it on Shortbox. Maybe I'll throw it up on Shortbox or whatnot and see what happens. But Mandalorian's coming out in February, season 3. Then High Republic. I know Skeff has been keeping a close eye on the High Republic books as well. For both of the Virgin variants to come back 9.8, I think that's pretty awesome. I don't know where these landed in pricing and forgot to pay. I forgot that these went out in this box actually, and I forgot to pay attention to where those were going because Wonder World Comics Edition, if I remember correctly, sold out. And then I kind of stopped paying attention after that. We grabbed a couple of copies and then we left it at that. Like we said, having a trade come back in 9.8 to complete that set for those 2 books is great. And again, thank you, Skeff, for the 9.6. This one, I had to take a really close look at this one. But the idea is they're pumping them out so quick now. Are they getting their fair due time under the light, so to speak? Especially when this one was as crispy as it was. I don't know. I got to take a really, really close look at that. I'll get with Gary, and remember, Gary always does a solid by keeping notes, and he'll tell me, and usually I forget to ask him because I'll send him books, and he's like, "Do you want these pre-screen?" And I'm like, "No, just it's Star Wars stuff. I want them no matter what. Like I'm not sending out 8.0s and 8.5s. 9.2 did kind of surprise me a little bit, but it's one of those things where I should probably ask him to screen. I should probably have him screen them. Nah, it's too fun unboxing these things. It's too fun getting books graded and unboxing them. Have the full run of High Republic. I'm going to hold on to them, see what happens. Yes, we have the full run. Those Wonder World comic store exclusives, I think, were the only store exclusives that we actually got out of the High Republic. We did get the ratio variants from our LCS to hold on to those. And thank you, Planet Arizona. I got to run, have some dinner. Have a good night. Good to see you as well again. Bot attack. Did we have a bot attack? Oh, apparently we did. We were having so much fun talking about the books. We didn't even say that. Seems like the bots have been back lately on a lot of other shows. Full shields, bot attack. Yes. I think if a second print of that book in a 9.8 from your whatnot, it's in the mail pile. Oh, you do? Oh, touche. Nice grab. Nice grab. But that's the CGC unboxing. We're going to get ready to head over to catch the pressable defects. Leave a comment down below on what books you think you should be grading or what books you would like to be grading from Star Wars. I'm telling you, you look at like some of the volume 1 books. I'm surprised that the volume 1 books have not done better. Even those books didn't really see tremendous highs. Obi-Wan didn't, Star Wars number 4, I think it is. That one didn't take off anywhere near as much as I thought it would when the Obi-Wan show came out. In fact, I think I overpaid for my copy a little bit. Either way, that's still a long-term hold because I didn't have one of those. Star Wars 1 continues to do well. That's another book that we're kind of waiting to see if that cools off. But a lot of those volume 1 books, don't expect high grades if you're still sitting on raw books. In fact, be careful about what you're sending in when it comes to volume 1. Hire a reputable presser and cleaner that's going to inspect those books for restoration. Because it's funny, if I'm running into books that are restoed out of the 90s, can you imagine stuff out of the 60s, 70s, and 80s now? Like, we're starting to see that. Like, a non-key Punisher book hitting restoration is interesting. We're going to talk about that, and then one of the next unboxings. I've already unboxed it. We're going to recap that big Punisher run, though. But in all seriousness, look at the pricing. Look at the value of books. Keep an eye on the trend. Keep an eye on what's happening because leading into 2023, even now before Christmas and going into 2023, we're probably going to continue to see better pricing on books. And this is an opportunity. This is a really good opportunity to keep not only keep an eye on them, but potentially grab a Grail book for your PC or more books for your PC. And I'm telling you guys, that's what we're doing. We have shifted our focus back over to like Grail and PC books, getting them picked up, getting them graded as the prices continue to go down. We're going to be keeping a really close eye on Darth Vader 3, the ratios of that, keeping a really close eye on the High Republic stuff and see what happens with that going forward in the long term. But I'm telling you, Star Wars in our PC is long-term 5+ years hold is what I should have never sold any Star Wars books. I do kind of regret letting go of some of those, but I don't regret the joy of the community members that have picked up those books and the connections that we've made, especially Luke and a lot of other friends. Because now we can share in those stories and have a lot of fun reminiscing about that because that's been introducing other people to some of these Star Wars books has been fantastic. Like Seawater 19 introducing me to that Darth Vader run 3 years ago almost. And I had not gotten a chance to read that and fell in love immediately with that. Reverend, yeah, Revan Man. I'll look into that. Either way, Revan Man. I'm trying to spark a memory here. But yeah, with as fast as these books are coming back, Gary is already green light. Oh, Revan, Darth Revan. Oh, why am I Revan Man? Darth, yeah. There he is, Bronze Age Nerd. You guys give Bronze Age Nerd a follow. He's got that next Mission 22 auction coming up on whatnot. He said around Thanksgiving. He's already got people sending stuff in. The last one went really well. Bronze Age, thanks for stopping in. Really appreciate it, man. But yeah, Darth Revan. I don't know why. Darth Malak, Darth Revan, that's the villain trend in Star Wars 2 seems to buck. Like I know years ago, many moons ago, hero spec versus villain spec, and villain spec never used to really pan out all that well, except for like Kingpin ASM 50. That's kind of different. But like villain spec through modern age of comics never really did well. Star Wars villain spec seems to be its own thing. Seems to be its own thing on its own planet. It has its own performance markers and own performance measurements. And that's something that we could really dig into in time, is kind of look at a lot of that and a lot of those trends. Very interesting. So yeah, other Star Wars books that we're keeping in the back pocket to send a grading so far is pretty much the first, second, third issues of the Afra solo run. Finding high grade copies of that is more challenging than I thought it would be, because they have a lot of white on the covers. They've been tossed around a little bit, quite a bit in bins. Nobody really cared too much. There's Come On Mama dropping the link in the chat for Bronze Age Nerd. Make sure you guys sub up to Bronze Age Nerd. Amazing content, super cool human being in the comic book community. There's the link. Make sure you hit that and check them out. Revan is bigger than a villain. Enough story there to have his own trilogy. There you go. There you go. True word spoken from Tony Fix right down there. Good to see you, brother. Yes. What if Revan just a long time bad typo and it was meant to be? It's possible. Solo Wookie, thanks for being here. Catch the replay. We already went over the books a couple of times, but the first solo series of Afra, those first 2 issues, Afra's origin issue, 28, 29, 30, somewhere in there. No, that's not it. The 000 origin story is near the tail end of the Afra run. A lot of those mini keys that in the Afra run, if any of those, you can't have Afra and not have the murder droids on there. So if Afra shows up, the murder droids show up. Some of those things, where it's that. Those are books where if I find high grade copies for affordable prices, I'm going to send those out, because the census numbers aren't super high on graded copies. They're not at that market stage where people are just pumping them out and selling them at like a markup rate, right? Like people are getting them graded. When they come back, they're asking higher prices for them. There's Come On Mama dropping the link again, right down there. Check out that link. I got to click on that, because is that Bronze Age again? Or no, that's Luke's Comics. Check out Luke's Comics link right there. Subscribe to Luke. Check out his unboxing content as well. But that's the Afra series. But then don't forget, where did we put that? Second appearance of Afra. Afra's probably not good. Oh, Ahsoka's gonna be the big modern Star Wars character for a long time running. Will Afra get that big? I don't know. Maybe not so much. But if the second appearance of Ahsoka continues to trend upwards, because the first appearance is not acceptable. If the first appearance is not affordable for other people, what do you think is going to happen with the second appearance of Dr. Afra, and especially the additional printings? Seems like that's the trend, is the additional printings that get shorter print runs seem to be the ones that get priced higher. For $38 on eBay, this was one that I couldn't pass up. This is a stellar grab. I was super happy. In fact, I don't know that I posted that one on Instagram yet as far as the picture of the book. Posted that we picked it up. Once again, the mission for the year of 2022 is Mission 22. There is a super chat from Bronze Age Nerd that's going to get donated to Mission 22. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Super chat, super stickers, all of the ad revenue, everything from this channel goes to Mission 22, and we will do that donation before the end of the year as we wrap up the year. Yes, there it is. Oh, shucks, he says. So think of second appearance. When we talk about what Star Wars books should you grade, don't do what I say. Do what you feel is right in your heart. But me, I'm looking at first appearances, second appearances, origin stories, and first solo titles. Kind of go back to like the original old school mentality of kind of speculation to build your collection. The variant covers, the store exclusives, all the other stuff that's coming out that's hitting the market that's making things confusing. It's so incredibly unpredictable. If you go back to the diehard tried and true first appearance, second appearance, and go into the first solo title, then you go into like an origin story. Those 3 or 4 areas to pay attention to. If you do that with your favorite Star Wars characters, you'll never go wrong. You'll never go wrong. You'll buy what you love and you'll love what you buy forever. I'm saying now is the time to pay really close attention to what those characters and what those first appearances, second appearances, what they do over the next 12 months. Because if we're going to continue to see corrections, you're going to see some books buck the trend, right? But if we're going to continue to see corrections, now is the time to look for those books that we weren't able to afford, or that we didn't want to spend X number of dollars on because we felt like it should be a little bit cheaper. We're starting to see those corrections. You get high grade newsstand Dark Horse keys. Yes, Tony is not wrong. High grade newsstand. We talked about that Clone Wars one that we were paying attention to on eBay the other week, and that one bucked the trend. The last like 8590 was like GPA had like 700 some odd dollar sale. The raw book, the raw copy in a similar grade, bucked that trend and went for $230, $240 more than the graded copy, the last sale of graded copy. So that's going to buck the high grade newsstand dark horse keys are going to be ones that buck the trend. There's the link to Skep's YouTube right there. Thank you, Come On Mama. Skep's still in the house hanging out. He may have bounced already. Star Wars is one of the few I'd get Death of graded as well. That's not a bad point. That's not a bad point. I mean, that's really interesting. Like being a big Star Wars collector that I am, like, yeah, I'd go that route too. Man, I should have been doing that for years. Is the Vader 3 free comic book day edition a good grab? It depends. Buy what you love and you love what you'll buy. For me, I think it's a good grab if I find it for cover price or under $10 in near mint plus. If I feel like it's a solid 9.8 candidate and it's going to come back in 9.8 and I can get it for less than $10, I think that's pretty good. Because you're talking about the free comic book day. That's the Halloween Comic Fest edition, right? If you're talking about that Halloween Comic Fest edition, much like the first appearance of Miles Morales, Ultimate Fallout 4 has that Halloween Comic Fest edition as also, and that one was seemed like a really good buy for $10 or less for a long time, and I think that one went up a little bit. You could really never go wrong with Star Wars. That's what a lot of people have said. Now, granted, it started out as reading, and it's really kind of driven our personal collection. Like we fell in love with Afra. We've always been in love with Ahsoka, trying to not pigeonhole, but try to get some of our collection geared towards that. Now it's growing. We want to work on a run of Clone Wars books. We've got issue 1 and issue 2. We got a second copy of issue 2. That one came back 9.4, but now it's like looking for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now is the time that I want to pay close attention to looking for those books to kind of not really lose steam, but maybe get to the price where they were beforehand. There's something killing the children books out there right now for really, yes, something is killing the children books are at really good prices. Why? There hasn't been any news. There really hasn't been any news or action since the talk of Netflix picking it up. We know that Stranger Things is going to be the dog and pony show, so to speak, of horror stuff on Netflix. It's going to be the big show that they're going to continue to pump support into. If they are going to do something that's killing the children, they're not going to touch it until well after Stranger Things, in my opinion. So I feel like anybody that has that book, that's collecting that book, is riding it out for the long haul, and anybody that sold it already was just kind of getting rid of it, letting it go. Yes, the Halloween one. In my opinion, if it's a near mint plus copy and it's $10 or less, then I think it's a good deal. Anything more than $10, keep an eye on the recent sold listings for ungraded and graded copies and kind of make up your mind from there at that point. But if I'm in a comic shop and I don't have the data in my head, $10 for those free comic book day, those Halloween Comic Fest books, $10 and under for near mint plus is kind of instantly where my brain is. Then if I overpaid by a couple of dollars, I'll take the hit on something like that for the personal collection, or I'll take that for the collection. Kind of, it's not too much. $15, $20. Can I get a 9.8 off of eBay for $40? It's kind of where my head's at that point. It's still Darth Vader 3. It's still first appearance of Dr. Aphra. It's just another reprint. So it's like, I can't turn that book down. Nab Star Wars actor signatures on graded photo variants while you can. They'll be priceless. This is sage advice coming from Tony Fix here. Now, granted, there's already a lot of people not doing the actor signatures because of how much they're asking. I think I've heard stories and rumors of $300, $400 for some signatures. Tony's here to tell you that you pay the price now, or you pay the piper. Pay the price now, or you don't get it at all, because they're going to take off out there. Can you imagine Harrison Ford not being able to get Harrison Ford's signature at some point? I don't even know that he signs that much anyways. Out of all the conventions we've been to and all the Star Wars stuff that we've seen, I don't think I've ever seen Harrison Ford at one of the cons that we've been to. It was an Afra bundle that I found on eBay. There you go. So now you got to look at what that Afra bundle is being asked for, and then anything that's not a key and anything that's not in near mint plus condition or near mint condition, cover price. Tally up each book at cover price, then tally up, call it like $10 for that Afra, the Halloween Comic Fest reprint, and however many books you have in there. Anything less than that, probably a decent. Holy Lord Almighty, are you serious? $1,000 last signing he did. Nuts. Good gravy. Apparently lost the initial director, and they're going to have to start over completely, I think. That might be a good thing, though. You might get a much better show because of it. Either, I don't know if the director left. Maybe you guys know if the director left or if they were asked to leave. But if somebody's upholding high standards and that director didn't meet it, then maybe it was a good thing that they're starting over. Either way. So, yeah, villain spec with Star Wars kind of bucks the trend. Like Tony's saying, signatures from the actors on photo variants. That's huge. That's where we're looking at collecting signatures from the Clone Wars cast on Clone Wars 1. Tony, I can't remember if you said you had a Clone Wars 1 for sale, but if you do, let's talk about it. Harrison charged 1,000 last signing he did. Hates geek stuff. I think I remember reading something that said he even hated Star Wars, actually, or didn't like Star Wars, or didn't like the way it turned out. Either way, interesting stuff. Once again, Diecast Comics, thanks for being here. Can never go wrong with Star Wars. You have this 9/8 Star Wars 4 action figure variant signed by Peter Mayhew. Priceless. Yeah, that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope, man. You got to post that on the IG one of these days and share that love. Once again, everybody, yes, thank you for being here. I went a lot longer than I thought I was going to, just talking to you guys, talking about the books. But that question kind of rings in my head is, what Star Wars books should you grade? I'm going to grade more Afro stuff. I'm going to grade more Ahsoka stuff if we can find it. Issues 2, 3. Marco's going to kill me for not remembering this, but issues like 2, 3, and I think 6 or 7. There's another really good Dave Filoni cover that has Ahsoka and Anakin on there. That would be a really good signature series book to grab. I would imagine Matt Lantern and Ashley Eckstein are going to be doing a number of other signing events going on years forward. So the getting's good, because Ashley used to be a $50 signature. Now she's $125 at GalaxyCon this year in December. We're going to wait and do it next year, and it's probably going to be $150 next year. Those prices just kind of keep trending up for the signatures. That would be a really cool book. Honestly, that's kind of like a big hunt list item for 2023 for us, is a newsstand edition Clone Wars 1. I don't even want to think about what grade we would be trying to go for it. We probably couldn't afford a 9/8. That would take a lot of saving up to do. We wouldn't buy a pre-graded 9/8, but could you imagine a Star Wars Clone Wars 1 newsstand edition in near mint plus condition hitting eBay, and what that would go for? That would be an auction that would be battled after by a lot of people. Can't imagine that would be something that's in the cards for us, because I mean, we still haven't even hit a couple of other collecting goals. Man, there's a lot going to be going on next year. We're working to put there it is. Marco yelled at me. It's not 6, it's number 7. We're looking to do a lot of other projects next year that is going to take up a lot of time and a lot of energy. Harrison hates anything that made him famous except crashing planes. Ooh. Yes, that's awesome, Solo Wookie. What goes? An Imperial officer laughing at dirt. Oh, nice. Yes, very good. Action figure series for signatures. Yeah. Solo Wookie, the Black Chrysanthemum, Darth Vader #1. I think there's that Black Chrysanthemum action figure variant that did really well. Get that signed by the guy that played. He's been showing up at cons. Get that one signed. Get that graded. I've got the gold Star Wars Dark Empire 2 #1 signed by Mark Hamill. Is it graded? That's a pretty cool book to have. Don't see those very often. Marco, thanks, man. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Last Han Solo 1 Harrison Ford CGC 2,400 and a 9.2. Yeah, that's something to keep an eye on. Those are books. Those are kind of like unicorn books bucking the trend with the signatures, and with the fact that you don't have a ton of people buying those and signing them and grading them. A little bit more of a, it's gonna set its own kind of price in the market. But now is the time to pay close attention to the modern comic book market. See where prices go. Use GPA, use Shortbox, use eBay sales, use a lot of other avenues that are going to have those last sold listings, and you're going to be able to see what people are asking now, because you're going to run into a lot of books. You're like, man, that book is priced higher than the last sale. That's because sellers have to catch up with that downward trend, or they just don't want to sell them lower than where they're at there. That'll happen too. Has a COA though. There you go. Awesome stuff. I am definitely going to be right there with you guys, keeping a really close eye. And in fact, it's something that there could be more content about out there. So trying to come up with some ideas, get some content together. We got some ideas. We're going to figure something out. But for announcements, we've got tomorrow Comic News Weekly with Simpleman's Comics, and everybody there is going to be on. Brian's back from his vacations, got some good stories to share. I bet we'll be here Wednesday for New Comic Book Day. We've got some more content planned going forward, some recorded, edited video. And like we said, we've got at least 2 other CGC submissions that have come back. I've unboxed them, set them down, and decided we should go back and review them because we got some fun things to share on that. And I've got to get off here and find some books for Daywalker because we got a trade to make. I'm really excited about that trade. And who knows where we're going to come out here soon again, like tomorrow, Wednesday, take a little bit of a break, work on some content ideas, be back. Maybe we do another CGC review next Monday. We'll see. I can't thank you all enough. You guys are fantastic. The greatest part of the comic book community are each and every one of you guys. You guys are the best part all day, every day, each and every week. And thank you so much. You guys know how I'm going to do this, right? I'm going to go peace out. I'm going to go pinkies out. I'm going to catch you on the flip side for the next one. But remember, the most important part all day, every day, stay original. Take care of each other because we're all we got, right? Peace out, y'all.
Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes.
Excuse me while I change. The roller buggy has made me sweaty. Yeah, sweaty.